First up is Mark Daniels.
Thanks, Stacey. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Mark, how are you?
Doing well, thanks. I think the first thing I just wanted to ask you is how do you view the current quarterback room and this current quarterback competition? Obviously, it's a different year. You guys haven't practiced yet, but what's sort of your mindset going into it?
Yeah, it's exciting, I think. I mean, for all of us, just to get back to, being in the building and being with new guys. Obviously, Cam joining the room and me coming back after being, gone for about 5 months. So it's been fun. It's exciting. And with, this offseason that we had kind of just starting from scratch like this late in the season, it's just a different timetable, a different scenario. And, we're just trying to adapt and get used to it.
And one follow-up, was it an easy decision for you to return, and were you surprised when the Patriots offered to resign?
No, it was an easy decision for me. So for me, actually, my wife and my family and I, we actually decided to kind of make New England home last fall. So we bought a house here. I think it was like last November. So we were moving back here. I mean, I just planned on kind of commuting if I was still with Indianapolis. So when this opportunity came, I was obviously eager to jump at it.
Thank you.
Next question is Bob Sosi, followed by Phil Perry.
Thanks, Stacey. Hi, Brian. Good to see you again.
Hi, Bob. Good to see you too.
Regarding that decision, why make New England your home, given where you grew up and where you've lived?
Yeah, I think we just felt like, throughout my career, even though it's kind of been all over the place, this has always felt, I guess, the most, home. And, after the last, coming back in 17, 18, 19, my friends, my kids had their friends, my wife had her friends. We all love living here, and it was just a decision where, as my career gets closer to the end, the last thing I'd want to do is have my career end and then have to make a decision one more time on where to move. So we wanted to put some roots down, and, we were happy about that. And then when I had the opportunity to come back to the Patriots, it just, things just kind of fell in place.
And a quick follow-up, rather than ask you about what it's like no longer playing alongside a Wolverine, what's it like to have another Spartan in that quarterback room?
Well, we had to even it out. We had 2 Auburn guys, so we had to have one more Spartan to even the room out. So it's been great. The further you get away from playing in college, I think the only games you actually end up watching are your alma mater and then, the bowl games. So I got to see Brian play a lot over the past few years and always was rooting for him. So it's been great to have him in the room.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Next question, Phil Perry, followed by Megan O'Brien.
Hey, Brian, good to see you again, man.
Hey, Phil.
I'm curious, just because you've obviously been in the quarterback room here in New England, where Tom was, the focus of everything, not just the quarterback room, but the offense itself. Sure. And I'm wondering how that dynamic changes, knowing that you guys haven't been able to meet a ton yet this year, given the circumstances. But how do those meetings change not having Tom there?
Well, I think we just it all goes back to learning the basics, learning the fundamentals for all of us, really, whether it's me, my 12th year and really, 9th year in this offense. Jared's his 2nd year. Cam obviously just got here. Brian just got here. But not only us, but like you said, for the entire offense. It's almost like with the way this offseason has gone, we had our virtual meetings, we had all those, but, to finally now get back in person where you can be in a room with someone and say, okay, this is what we're doing on this play, and then actually have a conversation. Like we're doing this interview, like it's hard for more than one person to speak at a time. So, in an offensive meeting room, even though Josh might be saying something, I might be leaning over and having a conversation with James White on how he's going to run a route or an adjustment he's going to make. And that was just virtually impossible during this offseason. So I think we're all just coming back in, excited to be in the building and be able to have those socially distanced relationships right now and just try to work around that a little bit.
And Brian, just had a sort of a quick follow, because of your experience and being in a bunch of different offenses over the years. I'm curious how you might envision this offense changes, again, with one guy at the focal point for so long and trying to accentuate Tom's skills. You guys have different skill sets in that quarterback. How do you see things changing on the field for you guys?
Yeah, at this point, I don't know. I think, like I said, for us, we're just getting the core fundamentals, the techniques, all those things. So, look, Josh has 20 years of experience in this offensive system. and it's worked pretty well. So I think, we're all just trying to learn from him, kind of refocus on, what he's trying to coach us, and then go from there. And like I said, because of, the circumstances we're in, we're all just trying to adapt to that, whether it was online virtual meetings and then able to, get a group of guys together in the off season and try to implement that. And then now take it where we're back in the building and, basically with what we're allowed to do, work within the constraints of that and just try to make it the best we can.
Thanks, Brian.
No problem.
Next question, Megan O'Brien, followed by Mike Reese.
Hi, Brian. It's good to see you.
Hi, Megan. Good to see you.
Now, when you signed back with the Patriots in March, I believe your agent came out and said that this was going to give you an opportunity to compete for the starting role on this team. Now, things have changed and Cam Newton joins the group. Do you still feel like you're competing for a starting spot?
I think for me, you're competing every day you go out. I mean, regardless of what the spot is, it's always a competition. And Bill said that, numerous times you're going to earn what you get. So for me, it doesn't matter if there's 15 guys in the room. I'm always competing. When Tom was here, I was competing for the starting job too. Now, I was probably never going to get that, but I always competed like I was going to try to beat him out. And that's the only thing that I could do to make myself better. So I think, the more, good players you add to a room, a group, offense, defense, team, it's always going to rise the level of everyone else up. So it's something that I've, taken a part of before, and it's something that I look forward to.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next question, Mike Reese, followed by Ian Steele.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hey, Mike.
Always great to see you. The way this offseason unfolded, it looked like you and Jarrett were sort of getting some guys together socially distanced to get some work in, and sort of the way it unfolded when Cam entered the mix in July. How would you sort of describe the dynamic of how the three of you came together, the way that unfolded?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned to you guys, I kind of moved back here in January with the idea of moving into a new home, and then had planned on going back to Indianapolis. And then when it came that I was able to sign back here, I was in the area. So Jarrett and I kind of talked, and we were having these virtual meetings, and we said, look, like, if anyone's in town, normally we'd be doing this right now, and we got to be smart about it and all those things. But so we kind of put that together. And then once Cam came along, we had one or two more sessions when people were now coming back into town, and we did that. And then now, we've been back in the building. So it's been good. It's look, this is the NFL, and teammates change from year to year. There's always additions, subtractions, whatever it is. So, people come in the room and you embrace it, and then you move on, and your teammates, and you just, one day at a time.
And the last two questions will be Ian Steele, followed by Jeff Howe. Go ahead, Ian.
Brian, thanks for the time today. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Since you came in, into the league with the Patriots, and every time you've been back, Tom Brady has always been here. How strange is it going into a season knowing that Brady will not be in the building at any point in time?
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, that's the way the league is. Obviously, he's been here. He was here for 20 years, the longstanding. He was here the first time I was here. There was 5 years in between. I came back and he was still here. It is what it is. We all have to step up and do our jobs the best we can to replace him. And I don't know. I think maybe having the scenarios that we're in right now kind of takes a little bit off of that. You don't notice it as much. It's socially distanced. There's fewer people in the locker room, and for me, it was great just to come back and see the guys that I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to last year when I chose to go to Indianapolis. So I've been excited about that. To see David Andrews back has been awesome. James White, all those guys, the McCourtys. It's been fun. I mean, I had to do it like this for a while, and then finally, last week to be able to come back in and see those guys. You just want to give them a big hug, but unfortunately, you can't do it. But no, it's definitely a challenge, and we all have to do our jobs the best we can to be able to replace that.
Thank you.
Final question, Jeff Howe.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hey, Jeff.
You mentioned your consistency, always competing for the starting job here or elsewhere, but have you noticed maybe a different atmosphere or energy when the starting job might be more up for grabs in a different type of locker room?
I don't know. I think I've always tried to approach it the same way. I mean, I had to deal with this in Cleveland. I did it in Houston. I've done it in a lot of places. And for me, I've never really changed my mentality. I think, for me, it's to go out there and get better every day. And if you're not doing that, you're getting worse. I know that's cliche to say, but whether this was my 12th year, 5th year, 7th year, whatever it might be, I think you have to go in and compete like you're going for that job, whether you're going to get it or not. I think that's the only way to prepare yourself in case there comes a point where you do have to play. And the reality of our job is whether you're the starting quarterback, the back of the third, you never know. I mean, things can change in a week-to-week basis, and you have to be ready to go. So, I mean, I'm always up for it. I'm always excited to go out there and play. And for me, just to go out and practice football again, it's worth it for me to go out there and do that. Whether, I don't know how it plays out, but I'm going out there to prepare like I'm going to be playing week 1.
Thanks, Brian.
No problem.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.